Good evening, guys. It's about 4 p.m. Pacific time. Today is the 14th of September. Hope everybody's having a good day. Quick wrap up of the markets. The NASDAQ led the way today, going up 112 points to about 0.8 of 1%. Dow was up 330 points, up 0.9 of 1%. And the S&P 500 also went up 37 points or 0.8 of 1%. So strong day overall in the markets. They started high and stayed higher. So that was good, except for the NASDAQ. It had a little bit of a dip in the 10 o'clock time frame and then just kept on rising after that. I still think we are in consolidating phase. I don't think this is a beginning of a bull market. It's still one day on, one day off. So it's going to be a while for me before I decide to really go all bullish and deploy 100% capital. One of the companies I'm going to talk about today that showed up on my screens is a company called Alpha Metallurgical Resources. AMR is a ticker symbol. Let's just go through our 5-step process and start with the financials. So why did it show up? It showed up, just to give you context, I do a bunch of different screens, about 14, 15 different screens every day. And different companies show up on the screens. I do a volume screen, which is more volume than usual. I'll do a overbought screening and oversold screening, which means RSI in the 70 and above, RSI in the 30 and below. I'll also do a most gainer, most loser. Those are the kinds of screenings I do. This is an interesting one. So let's start with the financials on AMR. AMR is a metallurgical company. As you can see at the bottom, they're a mining company. The reason it showed up was because of quarterly earnings going up, and the stock seemed to have done a good gain over the last couple of weeks or days. So I thought it'd be interesting to watch. So start with the annual. Seems like they were growing in the 17 frame. They've been up and down in earnings. I don't think this is a phenomenally consistent company. They've had a couple of good years, and then this may be because of COVID is my sense. They dropped a little bit in 2018, 2020. I'm sure this is because of a COVID issue. I can go check that out a little bit later. Gross profit seems okay in the 30%, 35% range. Good operating income, roughly in the 20% range. And then pre-tax income is also solid. So on a quarterly basis, let's look at that really quick. Seems like revenues have actually slowed down in the last. So this is interesting. I wonder why it showed up in the scan, even though revenue is slowing down. So I've got to take a look at this a little more. Financials don't give me a ton of confidence, given that they've been slowing down compared to year over year. So you look at this Q4, it's down about a little bit, down about 15% for Q1. Over 1 billion, it's now down to about 900 million. And now we're 1.3 billion, it's down to about 850 million. But the comparable on Q3 2022 versus 2023 Q3, I think will be good, given that the revenue is in the 800 timeframe. So the comparables on this time would be fairly good. So it should probably do roughly in the $3.5 billion LTM revenues. Last 12 months was about 12 months is 3.4. So next 12 months looks in the range of about 4 times, roughly about 8. So between 3.2 and $3.5 billion in revenue. Profitable company, so that's not an issue. So let's continue to now the technical analysis. I want to check the balance sheet because usually companies that are not in the tech space tend to have a lot of debt. So this one has got fairly small amount of debt, $11 million in debt. So it's not a very debt-heavy company, which is surprising, but it's a good thing. Overall, I like the pick. I still want to understand why is it that it's going up. So if you look at it, start from the very top level, and what you're trying to do first, you're trying to find out what stage is it in. Remember the 4 stages. It's accumulating, it's uptrending, it's distributing, and then it's declining. So this was the uptrend phase, and then it started to accumulate and then went through a downtrend phase. So this could have been called a distribution phase. So remember this is stage or phase 2, and then we had a distribution phase, and then we had a downtrend phase, then we had a significant uptrend phase. Now it's gone back into accumulation phase. We started over here. And it's still kind of an accumulation, but a little bit higher than accumulation. Look at this. This is probably back in the, so this was the accumulation phase. Let's just draw that out to make sure that we know. This was the accumulation phase. And now it seems to be getting out of this accumulation phase, and this was the accumulation phase, and now it seems to be going up. So always good to know where we stand in the long term as we go into the short term. And then right now it seems on an uptrend. So I'm very interested in finding out where that is. So let's go to the next. From the monthly chart, now we're going to the weekly chart. The weekly chart will tell us, okay, this was a beautiful corridor. So you look at the channel here, it did a phenomenal job. Where did it go from? So it started in the July 20 time frame, so just about during the little past COVID, and the stock consistently did very well, going up all the way to June 2022 to roughly about the 160. So it went from, oh my goodness, this has gone from $2. Really? This has gone from a $2 stock to a ridiculous $184 stock. Oh my goodness. Well, I think probably did a little bit of reverse split. My suspicion is probably did that more than anything else. Even otherwise, this is a phenomenal job. And then after that, since 2020, it's been in a range bound area. Range bound to slightly lower, but mostly I would say range bound. It's done a good job of being in the range. So I understand now it's accumulated very, very well. We like that. We like accumulation with good volume. Compare this. So look at the bottom, look where my arrow is. Look at the volume during the accumulation phase, much higher than the volume was in a much lower phase very, very early on. So the stock is catching on a little bit. And if you look at recently, the volume has been pretty high during this uptrend. So the X number of weeks, I would say from May of 23 to September of 23, there's been just 1 week or 2 weeks of red, but otherwise this has been in a strong up move, and it's broken out. If you draw the line that shows you where the resistance is, this is one resistance. It's broken out of the resistance line, so they've done a very good job. And this is the, I would say to a certain extent, maybe the support line where I drew the bolt. So this is the resistance line, and it's grown up. So now it needs a new resistance. But remember, when we saw on the high-level chart, this is breaking new ground. So this is an all-time high. The stock has been hitting all-time highs for the last few weeks. So that's a good sign. A few months as well. Last 2 months, it's been hitting all-time highs. Last few weeks, it's been all-time highs. Now let's look at the daily chart. So what does the daily chart tell us? Daily chart. Oh, this is one yellow flag, I would say. This is the RSI. Where my cursor is at the bottom is the relative strength index, and this is definitely in the overbought territory. So I want to be a little bit careful about that. The chart looks good. It definitely looks like this one has done extremely well over the last few weeks. It's taken a few days of red, but this has been a solid uptrend within the channel, moving very, very well. Let's draw a quick channel just to show you what that means. This is a beautiful, beautiful chart over the last few days. This stock has done, well, actually, I would say, including a couple of months, this stock has done very well. And we look at it broke out of the channel. That's why a lot of people are going to be watching it. It's broken out of a resistance zone. This is the resistance zone, 184. It's broken upwards to the channel. So that's also a good sign. All of the moving averages pointing up. So how would I play this? So now I know this is a good stock moving to all-time highs. Usually stocks that go to all-time highs are going to continue that path at least until there's meaningful change in the fundamentals or some other information that tells you, hey, something's going on. But in this particular case, I don't see anything that would tell me that this is actually going to go down anytime soon. So my suspicion is this is going to continue in its path on its upward trajectory. But where's the stop, or where is the likelihood it's going to break? So what you got to do now is you say, okay, it's broken out of this resistance. This is no longer the support. This is a way low support. So you got to take the new support, and that is see how many times it is touched, the number of times that it's hung around in the 213 time frame. So look at the stock right now. It's roughly about 244. It's done a lot of touches to 214. It may actually come back, and the 10-day, the 20-day moving average is 206. So in the 213, 206 range, it should touch it at some point in time. It could not, to be fair. You look at the stock. Is it on a green channel? Moved up. Green channel moved up. So this is higher highs, higher high, higher high, higher high, and higher lows. This is a strong move in the last 2 days. So I wouldn't be surprised to see what would I expect over the next couple of days. Let's draw that out, right? And how should you play this? So strong green channel, always a good sign. Not a power earnings gap in some senses, but really a good green candle. It's always a good sign. I'm not going to go to the 2-hour or the lower chart, but the 1-hour chart, sorry, the day chart tells me that the way I'm going to play this is it's broken out of the channel. This is a good green candle on the earnings day, the day after the earnings as well. Look at that. The next day candle was beautiful. So this is on a power move up. The next earnings dividend is expected in a couple of days. So the way I would play this out, let's just draw that is, let's see. Here, I'm going to say that it's most likely going to play here. So it's going to probably test somewhat of a channel break. So it might likely go down from 240 to about, I don't know exactly where it might go, but it might end up in the 228 range. So I want to buy as close to the 228 range. And that is my stop. That is, if it goes below 228, I want to try and see where it goes. If it breaks down 228, then next stop is 214. So if it gets down, expect the stock to a certain extent to actually do something very interesting over the next couple of days. Would be, okay, what I wanted to do, what it'll end up actually doing, maybe two different things. But in any event, I'd like it to be able to go down a little bit, hit this channel again, forms a flag, a pull flag, and then powers its way through. So that's how I would play the stock. Watch in the next couple of days for a move down to the 230, hopefully, but 228, definitely likely, most definitely not likely to the 214. But watch as it goes down, see where it touches, buy it there. Once it forms a flag, then it heads its way up again. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.